Okay, time for a new video. Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. This is yet another Eurovision related video here on my channel, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the ESC250 poll of 2025. This is a vote that is organised every year by songfestival.be, and it opens at some point in the autumn, and Eurovision fans from around the world can cast their votes for their 10 favourite Eurovision songs to date. And then on New Year's Eve every year, we find out the top 250 from that vote. And then, shortly after New Year's Eve, as we cross over into the new year, the entire list is published online. I am going to be looking at it right now, specifically the top 50 of the 2025 vote. As always, you're welcome to let me know your thoughts on anything I discuss in today's video by leaving a comment down below. And as always, there are links in the description to my other social media pages. Check them out if you so wish. So I have voted in this poll for several years now, and it's been running for quite a long time. And just for the record, these are the songs that I voted for towards the end of last year. My 12 points went to Calm After the Storm by the Common Linnets, Netherlands 2014. 10 points to Sweden 2010, This Is My Life, Anna Bergendahl. 8 points to Finland 2023, Cha 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 by Karja. 7 points to Zitie Buoni by Måneskin, Italy 2021. 6 points to Estonia 2015, Elina and Stig, Goodbye to Yesterday. 5 points to Italy 2017, Francesco Gabbani, Occidentali's Karma. 4 points to Croatia 2024, Baby Lasagna Rim Tim Taggy Dim. 3 points to Sweden 2025, Barra Barabastu by Kai. 2 points to Norway 2020, Attention by Ulrika. And 1 point to Iceland 2003, Open Your Heart by Birgitta. Now, I am very much aware that these songs are all fairly recent when you consider that Eurovision has been running for many, many decades. I only vote once. I know some people online vote many times for many different songs. That's okay, I suppose. I don't really have a problem with it. And unfortunately, as much as I do enjoy many pre-21st century Eurovision tracks, they just don't quite make the cut here. And it's very difficult, I'm sure, for anybody who has voted in this poll in the past, because to really determine 10 of your absolute favourite Eurovision songs and rank them in some sort of order is very difficult. I find it very difficult every year. This is not, strictly speaking, my absolute 10 favourite Eurovision songs to date, because I do like to try and, cram in one or two songs that maybe, if it was strictly my top 10 favourites, would miss out. You know what I'm on about here. Nevertheless, those are the songs I voted for, and it's just a bit of fun, of course, but it is interesting to see how the results pan out for a poll like this, because I can't really think of anything else that is similar to this in existence. Anyway, I have the list in front of me. I am going to focus primarily on the top 50, but I can see that bottom of the pile, joint 1,586th in last year's vote, was Slovenia 2017, On My Way by Omar Naber. Just 1 point. That's the same as Clodagh Rogers, Jack in the Box, the UK 1971. That's the same as, what else have we got here? Mil Etter Mil, bit of a Eurovision classic by Jan Teigen, Norway 1978. Denmark 2005 only had the 1 point, that's a shame. Ukraine's debut entry in 2003 only had the 1 point. And Weismee de Weg by Humphrey Campbell, that's a cracker of a song, Netherlands 1992, only 1 point. That's a real shame. I've just seen my winner of 1998, Altid Sommer, 5 points. That's a real shame. Anyway, 1,000th in this poll, just for the record, as we scroll up, was Love City Groove, Love City Groove, the UK 1995. 25 points apparently for that. In the morning, when there's... And that's enough of that. Number 500 in the poll, just for the record, was Rafał with The Ride, Poland 2021. 120 points. Wow. I'm surprised it received that many. Number 100 in the vote was Nendes Narkotykomedes de Teamakulmidagi, I think. Yes, for Estonia 2024. 814 points there. Calm After the Storm, I can see in exactly the same place as it was in the previous poll, 97th. That is just below Satellite by Lena. Wild Dances, number 94. That's quite low. Espresso Macchiato, number 90. Okay. That's below Maman, France last year, and Spain last year. Goodness me. Veronica by Raven, Slovenia 2024. That's fairly high up, if you ask me. Dancing Lascia Tumbai, I thought that would be higher up. Unforgettable by Marcus and Martinez, that's quite high if you ask me. Shame Only Teardrops isn't higher. Luxembourg last year is number 68, that's quite nice to see. Nice to see Spain 2003 still doing well. Il Volo and Blanche with City Lights didn't quite make the top 50. Hard Rock Hallelujah didn't make the top 50. And Waterloo finished 51st. That's ABBA, of course, Sweden 1974, an absolute classic. Anyway, let's go through the top 50. I will try to be fairly quick with this, otherwise this video will just go on for eternity. Number 50 is Slovenia 2023, Joker Out Carpe Diem, 1,455 points. Yeah, not a bad song, indie rock in style, quite a charismatic lead vocalist. I thought it was well done in Liverpool. I was there on the pierhead with my friend Peter on the night of the grand final, and I was pretty impressed by it. Number 49 is Portugal last year, Deslocado by Napa. Wasn't really engaged with this one at any point. It was a very relaxed performance. The song itself is very gentle, quite sweet, pleasant enough to listen to, but I don't love it. Then we have Spirit in the Sky by Kano, or Kaino, the public vote winner in 2019 for Norway, 1,472 points, a real crowd pleaser, and it's the three-piece band. Not a whole lot of movement, I would say, on stage for this, and I don't really remember too much about the performance at all, but it's a good song, and I suppose it does put a smile on your face. Certainly one of my favourites from that year. Number 47 is Soldi, Clap Clap, 2019, Italy by Mahmood. Yeah, I've not listened to this one a great deal over the years. A little bit of choreography. You had the backing dancers with red circles on their tops, and you had money on the screen behind him, and flames. And it was all fairly casual, the way this came across live, but a lot of people really enjoyed it, second place. Then we have Rhythm Inside, Belgium 2015, Loic Notte. Rumours are he's coming back for Belgium. How true that is, I really don't know. This was really well done. Sort of white, pulsing blocks on the backdrop. He was in a black outfit, couple of dancers on stage with him, one of whom was Suri, who would later represent the UK. And this was just really cool and sophisticated and elegant and really well done. And it came up on the rails right before the 2015 final and finished 4th, I believe. A pretty good result indeed. Then we have Latvia 2023. So this didn't qualify. It's Aya by Southern Lights. This one is a real fan favourite, I would say. I never really got into it too much. The performance was fine. It was all fairly low key, vocally pretty solid, I would say. But it didn't qualify. And of course, there was no jury vote in the semi-finals. Had there been a jury vote, this would have gone through, no doubt in my mind, instead of Serbia that year. But what's done is done. Is that really the 45th best Eurovision song we've had so far? Maybe not, but it's nice to see a song like that get some recognition. Then we have Goodbye to Yesterday by Alina and Stig. So this is one I voted for. 44th in the poll, 1,594 points. Just love this. The performance at the national final was different from how it was at Eurovision. At the national final, we sort of had this greyed out look, furniture all around them, and then in Vienna we had sort of skyscrapers on the backdrop, and there was that silhouette of Alina as she walked forwards sort of midway through this performance. That was quite effective, that single tear running down her cheek, and then Stig cleared off right at the end. Where did he go? Nobody knows. But yeah, really, really nice, really great song. It was on early in the running order, which was a shame, but it was a bit of a fan favourite. Then we have Amar pelos dois, Love for the Two of Us, Salvador Sobral, the winner by an absolute mile for Portugal in 2017. Beautifully done, really grew on me after the contest. I do very much like it now. Super relaxing, nothing really to the performance at all. He was on the secondary stage and just doing all of these hand movements and really feeling the lyrics. The song was written by his sister. His sister joined him for the reprise at the end, which was a really touching moment. And Yeah, it's a lovely song, and not a surprise that it won. Then we have Serbia 2022 Incorpore Sano by Constractor. This was really quirky, sitting there washing her hands, the choreography, everybody waving their towels about. It mentions Meghan Markle, probably the only Eurovision song that will ever mention Meghan Markle. But yeah, it was really quite cool, and it grew on me over time, that's for sure. Then we have Iceland last year, Roa by Vibe, 41st in this poll. Two energetic guys, silvery outfits, couple of dancers, blue lighting, some smoke effects. They were having a blast. The song references the regular Icelandic commentator for Eurovision. He's in the music video as well. Bit of a crowd pleaser. Number 40 is Israel last year. New Day Will Rise by Yuval Raphael. The public vote winner last year can only reach number 40 in this poll. Ooh, doesn't that tell you everything you need to know? There's very little to say about this one. There was that large structure on stage, bit of pyro, she was in a black outfit, belting this song out, and it won the public vote. But I think it's fair to say that it was not really most people's favourite last year. Then we move on. Greece 2005, my number one, Helena Paparizou, 39th in this poll. Bit of an evergreen hit, well performed, she looked great, sort of sparkly dress, dancers, and yeah, there's not really much else to say about this one. It's a pretty solid pop song. Then we have Poland last year. I'm surprised this is not a bit higher because people love this one. Gaia by Justyna Steczkowska, 38th in the poll, 1771 votes, or rather 1771 points. This was quite frantic, fairly energetic. There was a lot going on, maybe a bit shouty for some. I certainly don't love it, but it's not bad. Then we have Germany last year. This was an absolute cracker. Abor and Tina with Baller, 37th in the poll. 1,825 points, so a little bit of a jump there between Gaia and Baller. The national final performance was fine. There was some criticism of her vocals. At Eurovision, I think it was really solid. They had that sort of structure on stage. Baller was, flickering up on the screen behind them several times. Bit of pyro towards the end. She looked fabulous. The guy was pretending to play that cello or whatever it was. Really, really nice, and maybe should have fared a bit better on the night. It should have finished maybe in the top 10, maybe, I don't know. Then we have Greece last year, Asteromata by Klavdia, beautiful woman in glasses. There was a costume change at the end, if I remember correctly. I really do not recall this performance a great deal at all, but this finished in the top 6, and she sang it very well. It's a beautiful track, and it finishes 36th in this poll. Then we have Austria last year. The current champion can only finish 35th in this fan vote. That's quite disappointing. 1,847 votes, or rather points. This was great. A sort of monochrome-looking performance, the makeshift boat on stage, and the little boat that was sort of dangling on a string in the air, and then it gets really frantic towards the end, and there's flashing lights everywhere, and he's really nailing the vocals. It was a job well done, a very worthy winner in my opinion. I very much like the track, and it's a shame it's not higher in this poll. Number 34, Norway 2009, Fairy Tale, Alexander Rybak, pretending to play the fiddle. Couple of backing singers on stage, dancers that kicked hats into the air at one point, and very cutesy, very sweet, and still very popular today, quite clearly. Then we have number 33, Ooh Ah Just a Little Bit for the UK, 1996, Gina G, Australian, gold dress, couple of dancers, one was in a pink dress, one was in a green dress, very neon looking. You had a guy off to one side with a computer next to him that wasn't even plugged in. I think this was because you had to have all the instruments live or whatever, so they had to show the computer. I don't know exactly what the whole thing was with that, but anyway, that was there. And this was one of the favourites to win, I believe, at the time. It went to number 1 in the UK, and I believe it was nominated for a Grammy, which is pretty impressive stuff. And it is still, I would say, a very popular Eurovision track here in the UK. Very nice to see it get a lot of love in this vote. Then we have Norway 1995, Nocturne, Secret Garden, thin on lyrics, beautiful melody, playing the fiddle, very haunting, and it's amazing that we don't really get songs like this at Eurovision anymore. We really don't, where the emphasis is very much on the instrumental. Then we have Portugal 2022, Saudade Saudade by Maro. Beautiful song, early in the running order in Turin. Sort of on that secondary stage, surrounded by a group of women, clapping along in the chorus. All very gentle stuff. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Then we move on. Number 30 is Hurricane by Eden Golan, Israel 2024. So that's higher than this year's Israeli entry, which is quite interesting. Hurricane, barely remember it. There was that circle structure on stage, couple of dancers, wind machine. Again, you know, it's not a song that I see a lot of people talk about, that's for sure. But then again, I'm not really trawling through comments on social media these days. Then we have Zoe May, Voyage, Switzerland last year, on home soil, big fat zero from the public, disgraceful, all one camera shot, nothing really to this performance at all. It was so beautiful, really captivating, deserved love from the public, and sadly, none of it really came in, of course. Then we have the Netherlands 2022, De Diepte by Steen. This was great, absolutely fantastic. She looked fantastic on that stage in that sort of black waistcoat and trousers. Not much really happening in terms of the lighting. There was a cameraman in shot at one point, which was a bit disappointing. It's a really tender tune, quite emotionally charged, I would say. Absolutely one of my big favourites of the past few years. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. And it's in the Dutch language as well, which is terrific. Then we have Mons with Heroes, the winner in 2015, number 27 in this poll. Solid pop song. He was in it to win it, quite casually dressed, interacting with that robot on the screen, and lots of flashing red lights. It was fine. It's not a song that I really listen to a great deal, though, I'll be honest with you. Then we have Lithuania last year, Tavoakis by Katarsis, very moody. Sort of in grey outfits, really builds up momentum, quite an angsty finale, I would say. Bit of a fan favourite, 26th in this poll. Then we have Serbia 2007, Molitva, Maria Sherifovic. This is great, Serbia's best. Really simple performance. Maria was there with the sort of slack bow tie or whatever it was. A couple of women with her on stage as well. And yeah, really, really simplistic. All about the song, as it should be. Wonderful. And it's my runner-up of the 07 contest. Then we have Iceland 2019, number 24 in this poll. Hatrith Munsigra by Hattari. Quite aggressive in tone. Again, lots of flashing lights. The guy who was swinging that axe or whatever it was, the hammer from side to side, can't really remember. Very off-putting, perhaps, for first-time listeners, but it was a fan favourite, and the public liked it more than the jury, which wasn't much of a surprise. I think they've split up. I could be talking a load of rubbish, but I feel as though they're not together making music anymore. I don't know. But anyway, it definitely stood out from the field. Then we have Tout l'univers, Switzerland 2021, John's Tears. This was great. There he was, black outfit, waving his arms about. That was all a bit strange. The moving white blocks, the flashing lights at the end. The jury loved this. The public also loved this, but not quite enough to see Switzerland win. It is a tremendous tune. Then it's the Netherlands 2019, the winner, R.K. Duncan Lawrence. Subtle blue lighting, the light that came down from the ceiling. And then there's that shot where Duncan spreads his arms. That's the sort of winning moment right there. And then you had the lasers streaking across the arena in Tel Aviv too. It's a beautiful ballad, but I haven't listened to it much over the years, I'll be honest with you. Then we have number 21 in this poll, 1944 by Jamala, Stockholm 2016. I've never really liked this song. I've really never really liked this song. She sings it very well. It's very powerful, and obviously it packs a punch, and it does have a message behind it. And, you know, I suppose it was the right winner. Certainly one of the strongest songs, if I'm putting aside personal preference, one of the strongest songs of that year's competition. But I've never really loved it, I've got to be honest with you. Then we have Fai Rumore by Diodato, Italy 2020, number 20 in this poll. Fantastic. He came back in Turin and performed this as part of the interval in one of the shows. It was fantastic. There was that performance as well during the 2020 replacement programme where he was in Verona, I believe it was, the empty amphitheatre. That was so effective. That was so well done. I think a lot of people really started loving this song after seeing that performance. Vocally sublime. They sang this from the balconies during the pandemic in Italy. Wonderful. Then we have Voila by Barbara Pravi, France 2021, Rotterdam, the runner-up. Beautiful. Not really much happening at all here. You had that moment where the birds burst forth from her chest, and you saw that on the stage floor. The camera swaying from side to side. This year's, or rather last year's, Junior Eurovision winner by not Zoe Clausieux, whoever it was. You can tell that I've lost the plot here. But France's Junior Eurovision winning performance last year, very similar to Voila in many ways. It's a great song, and builds up and builds up, and there's this real sort of cathartic release at the end. Then you have Fuego. I thought this would be higher. Eleni Foureira, Cyprus 2018, the runner-up in Lisbon, probably should have won. Really solid pop song, sexy, charismatic, well choreographed, engaging, and on the day of the contest I really thought this was going to win, but it didn't. Then we have Sanna Nielsen, Undo. She's coming back to Melfest for some reason. This was 3rd in 2014, Copenhagen. It's 17th in this poll. A fine ballad on this little podium, black dress, light streaking across the arena. I think there was a disco ball as well towards the end. And she's a great singer, really went for it. She only just won Melfest ahead of Ace Wilder. But yeah, again, it's not one of those songs that I really gravitate towards. I think 17th, above Fuego, above some of the others I've already mentioned, that's quite surprising. Anyway, then we have Bambi Thug, Doomsday Blue. Thought this would be a bit higher. 16th in the poll. Ireland 2024. This was great. I mean, if you look at the national final performance on the Late Late Show, that's nothing. That's not a good enough platform for any sort of national final. At Eurovision, it was elevated like you wouldn't believe. It was so interesting to watch. It was so captivating. You had the sort of almost whimsical verses, and then that very much in-your-face chorus, and then the sort of, for want of a better word, screeching and anger pouring forth from Bambi Thug towards the end, Crown the Witch and all of that. It really was very well done. It really was one of the strongest performances of that year's competition. Then we have another song from 2024, Teresa and Maria Aliona and Jerry Hale. So Jerry is coming back to Vidbeer, of course. This is 15th in the poll, 3,019 points. Really, really effective. All the people's faces on the screen right at the end. The camera panning around the two of them. That structure, that sloping structure that Jerry was on for the first chorus. Yeah, nothing too flashy about this one, but it's a really, really nice melody, and it has a real subtle power to it, I would say. Then we have Europapa, disqualified before the final, the Netherlands 2024, Joost Klein. Big fan favourite. Vocally, maybe not bang on the money, I think it's fair to say. And visually, maybe not as interesting as it could have been. But the crowd loved this. Very energetic. Very, very much a crowd pleaser. And had this been in the final, it would have done very, very well in the public half of the results. Of that, there is no doubt. Will he come back for the Netherlands at some point in the future? It remains to be seen. Then we have one of the songs I voted for, Zitie Buoni by Måneskin, Rotterdam 2021, the winner. This was great. Pyro, charisma, Victoria De Angelis looking fabulous, the whole band doing their thing. It stood out a mile. It had a good slot in the running order. The last 30 seconds or so, when you've got flames and everything else kicking off, really quite a spectacle, and it really felt like one of their gigs. It didn't really feel like Eurovision at all for 3 minutes, and I think a lot of people just really enjoyed that for what it was, and the points poured in. But then we have Ukraine 2021, Shum by Go A. This was really, really interesting. You had a couple of dancers, and was it fake trees or something on stage? Fake white-looking trees? I can't quite remember. But this really, really builds up, and the pace really gets going the longer this song progresses. And very unique, very unlike anything else that year. No surprise it did so well in the public half of the results. The jury's not quite as keen, but they still enjoyed this somewhat. And, yeah, they performed this briefly right at the start of the 2023 contest in Liverpool. Then we have The Code by Nemo, the winner for Switzerland in 2024, 11th in this poll. A real mishmash of genres, swinging about on that circular podium. That was really effective. Again, flashing lights everywhere, vocally fabulous. some nifty camera work at times, and very much a worthy winner. And the music video is pretty cool as well. Then we move into the top 10, and we have Greece 2024, Marina Sati with Zari. So I really liked her. She was in this short silver dress, dancers with her. It was pretty much all one camera shot. Loads of stuff happening visually on the screen behind her. Sort of hard to keep track exactly what was going on. And I really wanted to like this. I really did want to like this, but I've never been able to get into it. I thought it was maybe a little bit messy, truth be told. When I first heard the song, when I saw the live performance, I didn't find it as delightful as I wanted it to be. 10th in this poll, I think that's fairly generous, but that's just me. I know a lot of people really do enjoy it. Then we have Finland, last year, Erika Wickman. Again, a real sort of show-stopping performance here. She was in that black latex-looking outfit, looking fabulous, the blonde hair, strutting her stuff on stage. Not much really happening visually. You know, her name appeared on the backdrop at the end, and Wunderbar as well. Some flashing lights, yes. Bit of a smoke machine, if I remember correctly, but I don't. Yeah, really, really good. Real crowd pleaser again. I know I'm repeating myself here. You can tell I'm not a professional journalist. But it was really great. One of my favourites last year. Then we have Rim Tim Tagi Dim, Baby Lasagna, Croatia 2024. Maybe should have won. I don't know. This was great. Again, the crowd loved it. Very colourful, traditional attire. Really going forward at the end. And yeah, it's got this sort of chugging rhythm. Really easy to go along with. A lot of people compared it to Cha Cha Cha. And definitely they sort of go hand in hand. And then, of course, Baby Lasagna did that song with Karia as part of the interval in Basel last year. So there we go. Really great stuff. Then we have Cornelia Jacobs for Sweden 2022, Hold Me Closer. This is great. This is a very heartfelt track. Very simplistic in its delivery. You had that circular screen next to her that she knocked from side to side a little bit as this song progressed. Haven't watched the performance for a while, but it's a really beautiful track, and it was between her and Anders Bagger in Melfest, and thank heavens this one came out on top. Slightly husky, I would say, her voice, but not off-putting in my opinion whatsoever. Really, really nice, and I'm so glad that this finished 7th in the poll. Wonderful. Quite a way ahead of Rim Tim Tagi Dim as well. Then we have Sweden last year, Bara Bara Bastu by Kai. This was a huge hit. The three guys singing in a dialect, the sauna on stage, cooking a sausage at the start, couple of dancers too, lasers and coloured lights galore in the final third. Very simple choreo in general. Very catchy and easy to go along with. Sweden's first song in Swedish this century. Hallelujah, it finally happened. It was a real battle between them and Måns, and this was the one that came out on top, and it was absolutely the right choice. The song went to #1 in Sweden for an absolute eternity. Really good stuff. In 5th place is Slow Mo by Chanel. This is still so popular. Turin 2022. This was all about sex appeal. She looked fantastic, it has to be said. Bit of choreo, dancers, sultry, sexual stuff. Lyrically, maybe a bit hit and miss, but I don't think many people really care about the lyrics too much at Eurovision. I've said that before. It was a really well-executed pop song. It's as simple as that. And Spain's best result for a very long time. Then we have Cha 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 by Karia, a real evergreen hit. He was there in 2024 as part of the interval. He was there last year as part of the interval. The guy is turning into the Finnish equivalent of Måns. But anyway, obviously he's a very interesting figure. He's got a very interesting aesthetic about him. And this is very catchy. It's fun. It's a sort of song of two halves, because for the first minute and a half or so, it just seems like it's this rowdy party number. And then the second half, it does sort of tone it down ever so slightly. You know what I'm on about, because I'm sure you've all heard the song many times. But it's a real song of two halves, I would say. And in Liverpool, the performance was great. I think this deserved a bigger stage, actually. I think this would have worked a hell of a lot better on the Malmö stage, perhaps, because that was larger. And this needs, I think, a big crowd, You know, a really, really incredible atmosphere. Not that the atmosphere in Liverpool was poor, but I just think this would have worked a hell of a lot better on a larger stage. Anyway, it won the public vote by a mile, and the atmosphere in the Eurovision Village was fantastic as well. Really wonderful. My winner of that year. Third place in this poll is Albania last year. Well, this is very impressive because this didn't win the public vote last year. It certainly didn't win the jury vote last year. But it's a huge, huge fan favourite. It was last in the running order. The performance was good. It's the guy and the girl. Shkodra Electronica with Shern. And I like the graphics for this one. And if I remember correctly, we had some flames. And the guy was banging the drum, looking all moody and serious. And it's a great track, but I don't love it as much as some people clearly do. 7,747 points for this. And that means the top two, you guessed it, Loreen, second place Tattoo, the winner in 2023 in Liverpool, 9,285 points. Tattoo was good, she really went for this. You could tell that she was trying hard to win, in my opinion. Can't really remember too much about her look apart from the long nails, and she was sort of sandwiched in, and then she was pushing the screen up in the second part of the performance, and then she was really belting it out. It was a winning performance, and it was no surprise she won the jury vote so damn comfortably. It shouldn't have been that much of a lead. That's what I'm trying to say. But what happened. And is that really the second best Eurovision song we've had so far? I don't know. Are you telling me the two best Eurovision songs that we've ever had up to this point just so happen to be by the same person? I don't know. Euphoria for me is the better song. That won again. 10,906 votes, or points rather. 355 12 points. It was the winner last year. 2024. It was the winner in 2025. Really good. Bit of choreo, flashing lights. The guy joins her at the end, and then they're sort of swaying about. And it's a really, really great pop song. Really sort of contemporary and engaging and well executed, and it just sounded really polished and a cut above pretty much everything else that we had in Baku 2012. The atmosphere when she won, very deflated, but that's probably because it was something like 3 o'clock in the morning in Azerbaijan, so everybody was probably thinking of their bed rather than watching Loreen perform Euphoria for a second time. Anyway, I've rambled massively there. The only issue with this poll, it's not really an issue at all, but Loreen is probably going to win it every year for the next 20 years because I'm not sure if anything else is going to come along that could knock Euphoria off the top spot. Tattoo in second, generous in my opinion. I think Shern will probably fall a few places next year, or rather at the end of this year. But I'm very, very happy to see Cornelia Jacobs so high up. I'm very happy to see Bambi Thug so high up. Did think Eleni Ferreira would be higher. Catharsis, that's very high up. But there you go. Any other songs as I scroll down? Poison Cake was number 164. That's very generous. Hemel en Aarde, 171. That should be higher. Circus Mercus, 179. That's generous. Excuse me. Okay. Let me now, very briefly, check where my songs finished. So I need this. So the Common Linnets finished in 97th place. Anna Bergendahl finished in 197th place. That's not bad. That's a rise on the 2024 poll. That's just under Robin Bengtsson and just above Carola in 1983 for Sweden. Cha 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 we've already done. That finished 4th, did it not? Yes, it did. Down from 3rd the year previous. Zitie Buoni, that was 13th, down from 12. Goodbye to Yesterday, I did read out. That's number 44, down from 43. Occidentali's Karma, number 146. That's really low for a really great song. That is above Iceland 2009, Cyprus 2012, and Australia 2023, but it's below Portugal 2019, Norway 2015, that's a great song. Nice to see Latvia 2000, number 140, that's great. Denmark 1963, number 142. Interesting. But yes, Occidentali's Karma should be a bit higher in my opinion. Rim Tim Taggy Dim we just did. That's number 8 in the poll. Barabarabastu is number 6. Attention by Ulrika. Number 210. That's a big fall for that one. That is just below Israel 2005. That's a fine ballad. Adrenalina San Marino 2021. Ooh, Switzerland 2019. Goodness me, that's not very high. But Attention is above Albania 2021, France 2022, Greece 2013. Ooh, Shady Ladies a bit low, Ukraine 2008. Cooler, Estonia 2012, that's quite low. One of the best ballads this century. Australia 2019, my winner, Zero Gravity, number 222. Dear me. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. And then Open Your Heart by Birgitta, number 390. So that is a rise. That's above Rasmussen for Denmark 2018 and Andorra 2007. Both songs that I like there. But it's below Albania 2008, France 1969 and Azerbaijan 2016. Alcohol You I've just seen. That should be higher. Goodness me. Netherlands 1993, that should be a bit higher. Dear me. Denmark 1989, that should be higher. Oh, Bobby Socks, only 410. Dear me. Anyway, I am getting so distracted. This video's been a real mess and a lot longer than I wanted it to be. But if you've stayed with me, thank you very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this vote and where the songs you voted for, if indeed you did vote, where they finished in the entire list. It is on the songfestival.be website, and I think it's been online for maybe about 2 days now. Anyway, that's it. I'll be back with more Eurovision-related content fairly soon. Until next time, take care of yourselves, stay safe. Apologies for rambling on, and bye for now.